The city was alive with noise, but in the dark alleys, silence ruled. Rain poured from the sky, dripping from broken pipes and leaking roofs. The streets smelled of smoke, oil, and old food. A teenage boy moved quietly through the shadows. His clothes were torn, his shoes half broken, and his stomach empty. He was one of the forgotten, just another street teen trying to survive in a world that did not care. He walked with his head low, searching through trash bins for something to eat. Most nights he went hungry. Tonight felt no different. But then, through the sound of dripping rain, he heard something else. A faint voice. A whisper. Almost lost in the noise of the city. He stopped. His heart beat faster. Help! Someone, help me! The boy froze. He looked around. The alley was empty, dark, filled with shadows. Maybe it was the wind, or maybe someone was playing a trick. Still, the sound came again, weak and broken. Curiosity pushed him forward. He followed the sound deeper into the alley. There, leaning against a wall, was a figure. Small, trembling, and drenched from the rain. As he stepped closer, he realized it was not a human girl. Her skin was pale silver, faintly glowing under the dim streetlight. Strange patterns ran across her arms like living tattoos. Her eyes were closed, and she seemed lost, blind. The boy's first thought was to run. Aliens meant danger. Some were rich and powerful, some cruel, and humans like him had no place near them. Trouble followed aliens, and he had enough trouble already. But the girl looked helpless. Her knees were bleeding, her clothes torn, and her hands reached out into the air like she was searching for something she could not see. "Please," she whispered again, her voice shaking. "Don't let them find me." The boy felt his chest tighten. He looked around. The alley was empty, but he could sense danger near, as if someone else was watching. He had grown up on the streets, and his instincts never lied. If he walked away now, he could save himself. She was not his problem, but something inside him refused to leave. Slowly, he walked closer. "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice low. The girl turned her head toward his voice, though her eyes never opened. Her face was young, maybe his age, maybe younger. Rain dripped down her silver cheeks. I can't see," she said. "I don't know where I am. Please help me." The boy hesitated. He had nothing to give. No food, no medicine, not even a proper shelter. But he could not ignore her. Carefully, he reached out and touched her arm. Her skin was cold, almost icy. She flinched, then relaxed. "Can you walk?" he asked. She shook her head weakly. "Not far. But we have to move." "They're coming." The boy's blood ran cold. "Who's coming?" She did not answer. She only tightened her grip on his hand, her fingers trembling. "Please, don't let them catch me." For a moment he stood frozen. Then, without another thought, he pulled her up and helped her lean against him. She was lighter than he expected, fragile, but every step seemed painful for her. He guided her out of the alley, moving fast, keeping to the shadows. Behind them, faint voices echoed. Heavy boots splashed in the puddles. Someone was searching. The boy's heart pounded. He had lived his whole life hiding from danger, but this was worse. Whoever these people were, they were hunting the girl like predators. He pressed her against a wall and waited as a group of men passed at the alley's entrance. They carried weapons, long, glowing rifles. Their eyes scanned the darkness. "She's close," one of them growled. "The boss wants her alive." The boy felt the girl tremble against him. Her hand squeezed his arm tighter. His instinct screamed at him to run and leave her behind. But he stayed. The men moved on, their footsteps fading into the night. The boy let out a shaky breath. He guided the girl through back streets until they reached an abandoned storage shed near the edge of the district. He pushed the door open and led her inside. The place was small, broken, filled with dust, but it was hidden. He helped her sit on a pile of old blankets. She was shivering, her silver skin pale. He wanted to ask questions, but she spoke first. "You shouldn't have helped me," she whispered. "Now they'll come for you too." The boy swallowed hard. "Who are they?" She lowered her head. Her voice was soft, but each word carried fear. "The ones who own this city. The ones who would kill you without a thought. If they find us, we're both dead." The boy's eyes widened. He stared at her, the rain still dripping outside, his heart racing faster than ever. He had just saved a stranger. But what kind of danger had he pulled into his life? And then before he could ask more, she whispered something that froze his blood. "Don't let them find me, or we both die." The shed was dark and damp. The wind outside rattled the loose boards and drops of rain leaked through the roof. The boy sat against the wall, staring at the strange girl he had rescued. She was alien, silver-skinned with faint glowing lines that seemed to move beneath her skin like rivers of light. Her eyes remained closed, empty, blind. She sat quietly, shivering, her hands curled tightly together. The boy did not know what to say. His life had been simple until now. Eat, sleep, hide, survive. But now he had brought trouble into his world. Trouble that could get him killed. Finally, he spoke. "Why are they after you?" The girl tilted her head toward his voice, her silver hair damp from the rain. For a moment, she said nothing. Then her lips trembled as if even speaking the truth might bring danger closer. "They will not stop until they find me," she whispered. "I am not supposed to be outside." "I am not supposed to be free?" The boy frowned. "What do you mean?" Her fingers reached down to her wrist where a golden bracelet clung to her arm. The design was strange, alien, with symbols carved deep into it. Even in the dim light, the bracelet glowed faintly. He stared at it, his eyes widening. He had seen jewelry before, stolen from rich merchants, but never anything like this. This bracelet looked like it belonged to someone important, someone powerful. "Where did you get that?" he asked. The girl lowered her head. Her voice shook as she spoke. "It was given to me at birth. It marks who I am. It is the reason they hunt me." The boy leaned closer. "Who are you?" She hesitated, then whispered a single word. "Daughter. Daughter of who?" Before she could answer, heavy footsteps echoed outside the shed. The boy froze. Shadows moved across the cracks in the door. A deep voice shouted in the distance. She was seen in this district. "Search every corner. Bring her back alive." The girl stiffened, her hands trembling. "It's them," she whispered. "They've found me." The boy's heart raced. He had survived many dangers before, gangs, guards, hunger, but nothing like this. Whoever these men were, they carried weapons, they had power, and they would not hesitate to kill him. He crawled across the floor and crouched beside her. "If they find you here, we're both dead. Can you move?" Her face twisted in pain. I can walk a little, but I can't see. You'll have to guide me." The boy nodded quickly. His instincts screamed for him to run and save himself. But when he looked at her, weak, trembling, blind, something inside him refused to leave her behind. He grabbed her hand. "Stay quiet. Follow me." They slipped out the back of the shed, stepping into the shadows. Rain fell harder now, washing the streets clean but making every step loud. The boy kept low, pulling her along, moving from wall to wall. Voices grew closer. Lights swept across the alley. The boy pressed her against a broken wall, holding his breath as two men passed nearby. Their armor glowed faintly and strange alien weapons hung at their sides. One of them muttered, "The boss won't forgive us if we fail." His daughter must be returned. No matter who stands in the way. The boy's eyes widened. "Daughter?" He turned to the girl beside him. She lowered her head, ashamed. You're his daughter?" he whispered. She nodded slowly, her voice soft. "The blind daughter of the alien mob boss, the most feared man in this city." The boy felt the world spin. He had seen the mob boss's men before. Everyone feared them. They ruled the streets, controlled the markets, punished anyone who stood against them. And now, by saving this girl, he had stepped into their world. The girl's face twisted in sorrow. "You should have left me. Now you carry my curse." The boy shook his head. "I don't care who your father is. You needed help, and I won't leave you now." Her lips parted in surprise. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. For the first time, she smiled faintly, but their moment was cut short. A bright light swept across the alley, blinding him. Voices shouted. Boots thundered toward them. "There, she's here." The boy grabbed her hand and ran. His heart pounded as he pulled her through narrow passages, ducking under hanging wires, climbing over broken fences. The girl stumbled but never let go of his hand. Behind them, the men gave chase. Their weapons fired, bolts of energy tearing through walls and exploding against the ground. The boy led her through the maze of streets, his instincts guiding him. Every turn brought danger, every shadow hid a threat. Finally, they slipped into an old subway tunnel long abandoned. The air was damp and filled with the smell of rust. The darkness swallowed them whole, and the shouts of the men echoed from behind. The boy pressed her against the wall, breathing hard. His body shook with fear, but his grip on her hand never loosened. She leaned close and whispered, her voice trembling but steady. "You saved me once. Now you've chosen a path you cannot escape. Protect me, and you'll make enemies greater than you can imagine." The boy swallowed hard. His life as a forgotten street teen was gone. He had stepped into a war he did not understand. And now, hunted by the most powerful mob in the city, he had only one choice: keep running or die. The subway tunnel was silent except for their breathing. Drops of water echoed from the ceiling, falling into black puddles. The boy held the alien girl's hand tightly, his eyes searching the shadows. His chest rose and fell fast, but his mind raced faster. He had never been hunted like this before. Hunger, cold gangs, those he knew. But soldiers with alien rifles? That was something new. The girl leaned against the damp wall, her silver skin glowing faintly in the dark. Her blind eyes never opened, yet she seemed to sense everything. "They won't give up," she whispered. "They will follow us until the whole city burns." The boy clenched his fists. "Then we keep moving. If we stop, we're done." He pulled her along the cracked rail lines deeper into the tunnel. Rats scattered at their steps. The air grew heavier, filled with dust. But before long, a faint glow lit the far end. He slowed, listening carefully. Voices, shouting. The mob's hunters were already spreading through the underground. "Block the exits," one of them barked. "She can't escape." The boy cursed under his breath. Every path seemed closed. He dragged her toward a broken stairwell that led back up to the city. The steps were cracked, dangerous, but they climbed quickly, their breaths echoing in the silence. At the top, he pushed open a rusted door. They stumbled out into the night. The city stretched before them, towering neon signs, floating cars humming above the streets, crowds rushing through the rain. The noise swallowed them whole. The girl gripped his arm. "So many sounds," she whispered. "Where are we?" "The markets," he muttered. "Crowded enough to hide us, but crowded enough to get caught too." They moved through the flood of people, their wet clothes clinging to their skin. The boy tried to look normal, but he kept glancing over his shoulder. Men in dark armor scanned the streets, their glowing visors cutting through the rain. The hunters were here too. "Keep your head down," he whispered to her. She nodded, her hand clutching his like it was her lifeline. They passed stalls selling alien fruits, glowing with strange colors. Steam rose from street food carts. Merchants shouted in 100 languages. To the boy, this was just another night in the lower districts. To her, it was chaos. Every sound seemed to startle her, every voice made her shiver. But then, trouble. A patrol appeared at the far end of the market, weapons raised. People scattered. The hunters shouted commands. "There!" one of them roared. "The girl!" The crowd exploded in panic. The boy yanked her hand and ran. They pushed through screaming merchants and fleeing citizens. Bolts of energy blasted past them, striking stalls and sending fruit and fire into the air. The boy ducked and weaved, his body moving with the instincts of a survivor. They turned into a narrow alley, only to find another squad waiting. The boy's stomach dropped. He was trapped. But before he could panic, the girl suddenly raised her hands. Her skin pulsed with light and a wave of force rippled from her body. The hunters stumbled back, shields sparking. The boy's mouth fell open. "You can fight?" Her face twisted in pain. "Only for a moment. Hurry." He didn't waste time. He pulled her down another path, heart racing. The girl was no ordinary runaway. There was power inside her, power that could shake even armed hunters. But that only made her more dangerous to protect. They sprinted through back streets, across bridges, and down stairways. The rain never stopped, turning the city into a river of neon and shadows. Every time they thought they were safe, more hunters appeared, their voices echoing through the night. "Don't let them get away." The boy dragged her into another alley, pressing against the wall. His chest burned, his legs felt heavy, but he refused to stop. He looked at her. She was pale, trembling, her glowing skin flickering like fading light. "We can't keep running forever," he whispered. She turned her blind eyes toward him. "If they take me back, I will never leave again. I'd rather die." Her words struck him hard. He saw no lies in her face, only fear and desperation. And for the first time, he realized she trusted him. A street boy with nothing. She believed he could save her. Before he could respond, a shadow moved at the end of the alley. A hunter stepped forward, weapon raised. Then another appeared, and another. The alley was closing around them, the boy's breath caught. He looked up. There, above them, was a fire escape ladder. "Their only chance, climb," he hissed. She shook her head. I can't see. I'll guide you." "Trust me." He pushed her hands onto the ladder and began to climb behind her, guiding each step. Blasts of energy tore into the wall around them. sending sparks flying. The girl gasped but kept climbing, her trust locked onto his voice. "Higher! Don't stop!" he shouted. They reached the rooftop, the city stretching in every direction. Neon towers rose like giants, their lights cutting through the rain. From up here the world looked endless, but there was no time to admire. Hunters poured into the alley below. They raised their weapons, aiming at the roof. The boy grabbed the girl's hand and pulled her across the slick rooftop. Their footsteps splashed through puddles as bolts of energy lit up the night sky. He didn't know where they were going. He only knew one thing: he couldn't let them take her. As they leapt across to the next building, the girl stumbled. He caught her, pulling her close. Their eyes met, his filled with fear, hers blind but trusting. And then below, one of the hunters shouted words that froze his blood. "Don't let her escape! She's the boss's only daughter!" The boy's heart stopped. His worst fear confirmed. She wasn't just anyone. She was the most valuable prize in the city, and now every hunter in the underworld wanted her back. The rooftop was slick with rain, the neon glow of the city reflecting in every puddle. The boy and the blind alien girl crouched low, their chests rising and falling as they tried to catch their breath. Behind them, shouts and gunfire echoed through the night. The hunters were relentless, like hounds chasing prey. The boy wiped water from his face and stared at the girl. His heart still pounded from what he had heard. The boss's only daughter? The truth had been spoken out loud, and there was no denying it. The girl he had dragged through alleys and rooftops was the daughter of the most feared alien mob boss in the city. He leaned closer, whispering harshly. "Is it true? Tell me right now, are you really his daughter?" The girl lowered her head. Her silver hair stuck to her wet cheeks, her blind eyes closed. For a moment she didn't answer. Then she whispered, almost too soft to hear, "Yes, I am his child, the one no one is supposed to see." The boy pulled back, his mind spinning. Everyone in the city knew of the mob boss. His power stretched across districts, controlling trade, markets, even politicians. People vanished if they crossed him. And here, sitting in the rain beside him, was the girl hidden away from the world. Why? The boy asked, his voice shaking. Why would the daughter of someone like him be out here running half dead in the street? She wrapped her arms around herself, trembling. Because I was never free. I was never allowed to leave the house. My father kept me locked away, blind and useless. To him I was a secret, a weakness he had to hide. But I grew tired of being caged. I wanted to breathe, to see the world, even if I cannot see with my eyes. So I ran. Her words cut through the storm. The boy stared at her, struggling to understand. A girl born into power, yet treated like a prisoner. A life so different from his own, yet carrying the same pain. You don't understand, she continued, her voice trembling. My father is not a man you can fight. He will burn the city to the ground to take me back. Anyone who helps me will die. Even you. The boy's jaw tightened. He had grown up with nothing. No parents, no home, no safety. The world had already tried to kill him 100 times. And yet, for the first time, someone needed him. Someone trusted him. He couldn't just walk away. I should have left you in that alley, he muttered, his voice low. But I didn't, and now it's too late. If I'm already a dead man, then I'll die running beside you. The girl's blind eyes widened, her lips parting. Why? Why would you risk your life for me? He looked away, toward the glowing towers that ruled the skyline. Because nobody ever risked theirs for me. Silence fell between them, broken only by the rain. For the first time in her life, the girl felt something strange. Warmth even in the freezing night. Someone saw her not as a prisoner, not as a burden, but as a person worth saving. But the moment was shattered by voices. Hunters appeared on the rooftop below, climbing ladders, aiming weapons. They had been tracked again. The boy grabbed her hand. No more talking. Time to move. They sprinted across the roof, jumping gaps between buildings. Bolts of energy streaked past them, lighting up the sky. The boy's legs burned, but he forced himself to keep going. He had someone to protect now, and that made him faster, stronger. At last, they slipped into a broken skylight, crashing into the darkness of an abandoned factory. The air was thick with dust, machines long silent. The boy pulled her into the shadows, listening as the hunters spread out outside. The girl leaned against a rusted machine, her face pale. You can still leave me. If you disappear now, they may not chase you. The boy glared at her. Stop saying that. You don't get it, do you? Out there, I'm nothing, just another street rat. But here with you, I matter. I won't throw that away. Her lips trembled. No one had ever spoken to her like this. All her life she had been a shadow in her father's mansion, ignored, hidden, controlled. Now this human boy, hungry, poor, nameless, was the first to treat her as something more. But even as the moment grew heavy, danger closed in again. The factory walls shook as the hunters broke through the doors. Their voices echoed, weapons humming with deadly energy. The boy clenched his fists, looking around for anything he could use. Rusted pipes, broken glass, nothing more. He had no weapons, no power, nothing but his will. Still, he stepped in front of her, ready to fight with his bare hands if he had to. The girl reached for him, her voice urgent. You can't fight them all. If they take me, promise me you'll run. Don't let them kill you too. The boy shook his head. Not a chance. If they want you, they'll have to go through me first. The factory doors burst open. Floodlights blinded them. Dozens of hunters stepped inside, rifles raised. The leader pointed at the boy and shouted, "Hand her over, or die where you stand." The boy's heart thundered. He had no plan, no escape. But he stood tall, fists clenched, shielding the blind girl behind him. For the first time in his life, he felt something bigger than fear. He felt human courage. And as the hunters advanced, the girl whispered behind him, her voice trembling but clear. You don't know it yet. But by saving me, you've just declared war on my father's world. The factory shook with the sound of boots. The hunters moved in, their glowing rifles aimed at the boy and the blind alien girl. Dust rained from the ceiling as the floodlight swept across the broken machines. The boy stood tall, fists clenched, his small body between the girl and the soldiers. He had no weapon, no armor, nothing but his courage. The leader of the hunters stepped forward. His armor gleamed, his voice like steel. "Street rat," he spat. "Hand over the girl and maybe we'll let you crawl away alive." The boy's stomach twisted, but he didn't move. His heart hammered, his legs trembled, yet he planted his feet firmly. He had run his whole life. From hunger, from gangs, from pain, but not this time. "She's with me," he said, his voice low but steady. The hunters laughed. The sound echoed like metal scraping against metal. To them he was nothing, just a human boy from the gutters. "You think you can protect her from us?" the leader mocked. He raised his rifle. "One shot and you're gone." The girl behind him clutched his arm. "Please," she whispered. "Don't fight them. You'll die." But the boy shook his head. Better to die standing than live crawling. The hunters fired. Energy bolts exploded around them, shattering machines, sending sparks into the air. The boy grabbed a rusted pipe from the floor and swung it with all his strength. The first hunter who rushed in was struck across the helmet, staggering back. The boy ducked another shot, rolling behind a broken conveyor belt. His body moved fast, fueled by pure survival. He leapt forward, striking another soldier's wrist, knocking the rifle away. For a second, the boy held the alien weapon in his hands. The hunters stared, shocked. The boy aimed the rifle awkwardly, unsure how it worked, but when he pulled the trigger, a blast of light struck the floor, sending dust and debris flying. The soldiers shouted, taking cover. The girl, blind but sensing the chaos, pressed against the wall. Her voice rose above the noise. "You can't fight them all." But the boy grinned, sweat and rain dripping from his face. "Watch me try." He ran, swinging the pipe, firing wild blasts from the stolen rifle. He was clumsy, untrained, but fearless. Every move bought them another second, every strike another breath of freedom. The hunters shouted in anger. "Kill the human. Bring the girl alive." One soldier lunged at him, slamming him to the ground. The rifle slid across the floor. Pain shot through his chest as the alien's armored boot pressed down on him. The boy gasped, struggling to breathe. The soldier raised his weapon to finish him, and then the girl screamed. A sound so sharp, so full of raw fear that it shook the air. Her skin glowed bright, her patterns burning like fire. A wave of energy burst from her body, slamming into the hunters and throwing them back like dolls. The walls cracked, the ground shook. The boy coughed, pulling himself to his knees. He stared at her in awe. The blind girl stood glowing in the darkness, her silver skin blazing with power she could barely control. She trembled, tears running down her face. "I don't want to go back," she cried. "I want to be free." The hunters struggled to rise, their armor sparking. The boy forced himself to stand and rushed to her side. He grabbed her trembling hands. "Then fight with me," he said. "Don't stop." "Not now," she nodded, her lips trembling. Together they stood side by side. The hunters regrouped, charging again. The boy swung his pipe, striking the first one across the chest. The girl released another burst of force, sending the others crashing into the walls. For the first time, they fought not as prey, but as equals. The boy's raw human courage and the girl's hidden alien power became one. The hunters fell back, shouting into their comms. "They're resisting. We need reinforcements," the leader snarled, glaring at the boy. "You think you're brave? You're just a human rat. Your courage will get you killed." The boy spat blood, lifting the pipe again. "Maybe. But at least I have the guts to stand." The leader raised his weapon, ready to fire. But before he could, the girl's energy exploded again, brighter than before. The wave of force hurled the leader through a wall, leaving a hole that opened into the rainy streets outside. The boy pulled her toward the opening. "Now's our chance." They stumbled into the storm, escaping into the night. Behind them, the factory burned with sparks and broken lights. The hunters shouted, regrouping, but for now they were free. The boy guided her through the back alleys, both of them soaked, exhausted but alive. She leaned heavily on him, her glowing skin fading to a faint shimmer. She whispered, her voice weak but filled with wonder. No one has ever fought for me before." The boy glanced at her, his chest still heaving. "Then remember this, humans don't need power to fight. We just need a reason." Her blind eyes turned toward him, and for the first time she felt something stronger than fear. She felt hope. But far above them, hidden in the tallest tower of the city, a figure watched through a glowing screen, the alien mob boss. His face twisted with rage as he saw his daughter beside the human boy. "Find them," he growled to his men. "And when you do, bring me the boy's head." The storm raged over the city, lightning flashing across the skyline. Neon lights flickered, reflected in rivers of rain that flooded the streets. The boy and the blind alien girl stumbled through the darkness, their bodies aching from the fight. Every step felt heavier, every breath sharper. Yet they kept moving. The boy led her through narrow alleys, hiding from patrols that swept the streets. The mob's hunters were everywhere now. Sirens echoed, doors slammed shut, and whispers spread like fire. Everyone in the city had heard the news. The boss's daughter was missing, and a human street rat had stolen her away. The girl clung to his arm, her voice trembling. "He knows. My father knows. He will come himself," the boy frowned. "He's just another man. We'll keep running." But deep inside, even he doubted his own words. The mob boss was no ordinary man. His power reached every corner of the city. If he wanted someone found, they would be found. If he wanted someone dead, they would not see the next sunrise. They reached an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the docks. The boy pushed the door open, guiding her inside. It smelled of salt and rust. Broken crates lay scattered across the floor. He helped her sit down on an old wooden box. Her silver skin still glowed faintly, her blind eyes closed. "You should leave me," she whispered. "If you go now, maybe he'll spare you." The boy crouched in front of her, shaking his head. "Stop saying that." "I don't care if he's the king of this city. You're not going back to him. Not while I'm alive." Her lips trembled. "You don't understand. My father doesn't forgive. He doesn't forget. He will burn everything just to take me back." Before the boy could answer, a deep rumble shook the ground. Outside, engines roared. Heavy black cars rolled up to the docks, their lights cutting through the rain. Dozens of armed men poured out, surrounding the warehouse. The boy's blood ran cold. He rushed to the broken window and peeked out. His heart stopped. A tall figure stepped from the largest car. His armor was black and gold, gleaming even in the rain. His face was sharp, his eyes glowing with cold fire. He carried no weapon, he didn't need one. His presence alone was enough to make the city bow. The mob boss. The girl felt it too. She lifted her head, her blind eyes wide with fear. "He's here," the boy's throat went dry. For the first time, he felt the true weight of the storm he had walked into. This wasn't just about running anymore. This was standing against the most feared man alive. The warehouse doors creaked as they swung open. The mob boss entered, his men fanning out behind him. His boots echoed against the floor. He stopped when he saw them, his blind daughter clinging to a ragged human boy. Silence filled the air, heavy and crushing. Then the boss spoke, his voice low and thunderous. "So this is the insect who thinks he can steal from me." The boy clenched his fists, forcing himself to stand tall. His legs shook, but he didn't step back. The boss's eyes burned into him. "You're brave, I'll give you that. But bravery means nothing without power. And you, human, have none." The girl's voice broke as she cried out, "Father, stop. He saved me." He's the only reason I'm alive. The boss's gaze flicked to her, softening for only a moment before hardening again. You belong to me. You always will. And this rat. He stepped closer, glaring at the boy. He dies tonight. The boy's breath came faster. His instincts screamed at him to run, but he held his ground. If you want her, you'll have to go through me. The boss laughed, the sound cold and sharp. Through you? You're nothing but dirt beneath my boots. He raised his hand and the air shimmered with power. The boy felt his body weaken, his knees almost buckling under invisible weight. The boss's presence alone was crushing, like standing under a mountain. The girl reached for the boy, her voice desperate. Please, don't hurt him. I came here by choice. Let him go. But the boss ignored her. His eyes stayed locked on the boy. You think your courage matters? Courage doesn't win wars, courage doesn't build empires, power does. And I have all of it. The boy struggled, forcing himself to stand against the invisible weight. His chest burned, his muscles screamed, but he refused to fall. His voice cracked as he shouted, Maybe I'm nothing to you, but I'll never bow to you. The boss's eyes narrowed. For the first time, a flicker of interest crossed his face. He stepped closer, towering over the boy. You remind me of men I crushed long ago, he said softly. Men who thought their courage could defy me. Do you know what happened to them? The boy spat blood, glaring back. Maybe they died, but at least they stood. The boss's expression hardened again. His hand glowed brighter, the pressure on the boy's chest crushing him. The girl screamed, grabbing the boy's arm, her energy beginning to glow once more. In that moment, something shifted. The boy, broken and small, stood against the greatest power in the city. The girl, long hidden as a weakness, began to shine with strength her father had tried to bury. The mob boss saw it, the human's fire, the daughter's defiance, and though his rage burned hotter than ever, a single thought flickered in his mind. This human was no ordinary rat. But rage swallowed it quickly. His voice thundered through the warehouse. Enough! Tonight the streets will drown in blood, and when dawn comes, no one will remember your name, human. The warehouse shook with the mob boss's rage. His presence filled the air like thunder, pressing down on everything. The boy could hardly breathe, his chest aching under the weight of unseen power. The hunters stood ready with weapons raised, their glowing eyes locked on him. Behind him, the blind alien girl clung to his arm, her trembling body glowing faintly with hidden energy. The mob boss stepped closer, his boots echoing against the wet floor. His voice rolled like a storm. You've stolen my daughter. You've insulted my name. Do you think a street rat can stand against me? You are nothing. The boy staggered, his knees threatening to buckle. His instincts screamed to bow, to beg, to run. But something inside him burned hotter than fear. He forced himself upright, shaking, bleeding, but unbroken. I might be nothing, he said through clenched teeth. But at least I choose what I stand for. You have power, but no heart. I have nothing, but I have courage. And that's something you'll never kill. The boss's eyes narrowed, glowing brighter. Bold words for a boy who won't live another minute. He raised his hand, energy crackling like fire. The girl screamed. Her glow burst into brilliance, sending a wave of light across the floor. Hunters were thrown back, their weapons sparking. The boss staggered for the first time, his jaw tightening. Stay back, father, she shouted, her blind eyes blazing with defiance. He is not like the others. He saved me when no one else would. You see weakness in him, but I see strength. You will not take him from me. The boy pulled her closer, his pipe clenched in his other hand. He faced the mob boss, his chest heaving, but his voice steady. You want me dead? Fine. But you'll remember this. Humanity doesn't bow. We fight, even when we know we'll lose. For a moment, silence filled the warehouse. Rain drummed on the broken roof. The hunters stood frozen, watching. Then the mob boss laughed. It was not soft or gentle. It was harsh, shaking the walls. But hidden within it was something else. Respect. You dare to stand in my face with nothing but words and a piece of rust? His eyes burned into the boy's. You are either the bravest fool I've ever seen, or the kind of warrior this galaxy has forgotten. The boy said nothing. He only tightened his grip on the girl's hand, refusing to move aside. The boss's laughter faded. His expression hardened again, but his voice changed. Less rage, more steel. Very well. You've proven your fire, human. Few ever have. I will not kill you tonight. The hunters gasped. None dared question their leader, but shock filled their eyes. The boy blinked, stunned. The girl clutched his hand tighter, hope blooming in her blind eyes. But the boss wasn't finished. He stepped forward, towering over them. Know this. You've earned my respect, but not my forgiveness. You've made enemies you cannot imagine. The underworld will never forget your face. Every gang, every rival, every man who wants my favor will hunt you. His gaze shifted to his daughter. And you have chosen your path. Do not expect mercy when you fall. The boy's chest burned with fear, but he met the boss's glare. Let them come, he said quietly. I'll fight them all, not because I'm strong, but because I'm human, and humans don't give up. The boss studied him for a long moment. Then he turned, his cloak swirling in the storm. We'll see how long your fire burns. He signaled his men. The hunters lowered their weapons and followed him out. The warehouse grew silent again, broken only by the sound of rain. The boy collapsed to his knees, exhausted, the pipe slipping from his hand. The girl knelt beside him, her glowing skin fading, her blind eyes wet with tears. You stood against him, she whispered, her voice trembling. No one has ever done that before, not even his enemies. You are just a boy, yet you faced him like a warrior. The boy breathed hard, forcing a weak smile. I'm no warrior, I'm just human, that's all. She touched his face gently, her fingers soft. Then maybe being human is greater than being powerful. Outside, thunder roared. The city still belonged to the mob boss, his power unshaken. But somewhere in those endless streets, whispers would spread. Whispers of a street teen who stood against the most feared man in the city and lived. A boy with nothing, who showed that humanity's courage could not be crushed. And as the boy and the blind alien girl slipped away into the storm, one truth burned brighter than any neon sign. The galaxy had just seen the fire of humanity. Small, fragile, but unbreakable. Humanity, yeah,